Okay, hi everyone, guys. It's Pusk here, and I'm back on the channel after some months. I've been missing here, I know, because of different kind of study duties, but here is the 7th episode of the Fingerboarding podcast. Hope you have enjoyed the last episodes. And now, let's dive into this new one, in which I want to talk about a topic that I stressed already a lot on my Instagram profile. If you don't follow me on Instagram yet, just check the link in the description down below. We're talking about how to create the right setup for you if you're a beginner or if you are kind of becoming an intermediate fingerboarder. So in my blog post, I talked about some tips that would help you modify your setup in order to create that one setup that fits you better. So the first tip is definitely try stuff. So of course, the more stuff you try, the more stuff you know how it works, the more you know basically what works for you and what doesn't work for you, so that you can now keep what works for you and just eliminate what does not. So that's the very basic trick, but it's pretty important because of course I don't want you to spend money all over the place just to try stuff. But when you have the possibility and maybe you're intrigued by one piece of equipment, I really suggest you buying it. So absolutely try stuff. That's the first tip. The second tip is keep absolutely what is working. Test more what you're kind of thinking, maybe this kind of equipment is good, maybe it's not, I don't know. For example, you buy new trucks and you feel like they're great, you find yourself fingerboarding perfectly with them. So my recommendation is just keeping them, absolutely. Of course, I think that's very obvious, right? But when instead you're testing another piece of equipment and maybe you kind of not sure, so you try a new deck and says, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Just keep testing. Don't quit after, 2 days of testing and say, this does not work out for me. That is a wrong way of thinking, in my opinion. And I've done myself this error of, buying a new deck. I do a couple hours of trying and say, no, this thing doesn't work for me. I don't think that's the right approach to have, for the simple reason that maybe when we get more used to something, we are able to exploit it better, to utilize it better. And so my recommendation is just keep trying, test furtherly. Well, of course, if you are a more advanced fingerboarder, you can understand quicker, right? You can understand more quickly if this kind of equipment is good or not for you. But I'm referring here to beginner to intermediate fingerboarders. So what I suggest is test stuff for enough time. How much is enough time? I would suggest you at least go 1 week trying a new deck, 1 week trying a new set of wheels, 1 week trying a new set of trucks. And of course, if there's something that you seem to absolutely not get any value from, you don't feel like your fingerboarding style is improving, or you feel maybe that it's deteriorating, of course, just get rid of it. Tip number 3 to how to improve, how to change your setup for the better is absolutely to change one piece at a time. So of course, if you keep changing from one setup to another, you'll never understand what actually is good for you and what is not. So if you buy a new set of bushings, but you put them with a new set of trucks that you never tried before, maybe, or that you tried very little, well, that might be a problem. You will never understand if those bushings are actually that good, or if it was just an improvement done by the new tracks, or I don't know, if you're using them with a totally new setup, you never know if those are actually improving your fingerboarding, or even vice versa, because you have totally changed your setup. So it's very hard to understand. In here, my recommendation is to act like a scientist, to use the scientific method, meaning that just try to change one parameter, one single parameter. If you buy new wheels, Just take away the old wheels and just utilize the new wheels. Don't just put them on another setup, because you'll never understand if those wheels are actually good or not good because of the new setup that you were not used to, or because it's actually the wheels that are working that way, good or bad for you, whatever it is. So just change one piece of equipment at the time. That's the third tip. The fourth tip is definitely don't get fooled by the shiny market. On Instagram, everything seems to be the latest discovery in fingerboarding. Everything seems to be great. Now with very high quality pics, everybody seems to be selling the ultimate technological perfect product. But of course, this is not the truth. So of course, as I said before, try new shit, but don't absolutely be, too much attached to the aesthetic component that you might see on Instagram. Because if you get into that mentality, you'll end up spending all your money on new equipment because everything looks shiny, everything looks good. Just be, be more aware of what are you doing when buying a new piece of equipment, and of course how can you take better choices when buying new equipment by being informed about it. So I hope that this podcast and all the data I share with you, all the information about the fingerboarding world I shared with you, help you, keeping you informed about the whole thing. In the description down below you can find even the link to my ebook that is all about getting into fingerboarding as a beginner, and I really recommend you if you're just starting out. You can find it on my website, and sooner you will find even another ebook, but I'm not gonna anticipate nothing for now. So let's get to the tip number 5, which is look at reviews. Now there are plenty of blogs and even on my Instagram profile, in my blog posts, you can find some reviews of fingerboarding products, and those of course can be a lot helpful when you are unsure about a product that you maybe kind of feel you want to buy it, but you're not sure, right? So look at the review, and that can be helpful into taking ultimately your decision of buying it or not. And of course, the 6th tip is start from the simplest components. So start to change the tape because it's the most the cheapest part of equipment. Then move toward bushings and washers, then deck and wheels, and then lastly I say truck for the simple reason that they are the most expensive ones. Moreover, even though the deck is probably the part of the fingerboarding that affects the most, probably the performance according to what is your style and your level, the trucks totally affect what is, in my opinion, the feeling of your fingerboard. So they should be the least changed piece of equipment. And of course, 7th and last tip is absolutely have fun. While finding your best setup, don't get caught into this run for the number one setup, the most the perfect piece of equipment, because they do not exist. It's just about finding the best stuff for you, and sometimes even cheaper stuff might work best for you than more expensive stuff. So just don't be caught into thinking that the more you spend, the more you get. This is true to some extent. Then after a certain threshold, that's absolutely not the truth anymore. Of course, if you buy €5 cheap trucks, you cannot expect great performance, probably never. But if you start to buy some Black River trucks, for example, that, for example, I don't know, the 29 millimeters version of Black River trucks are 40 euros, which is, I know it's still pretty expensive, but you are buying really good quality trucks. My personal opinion, I never tried other trucks such as Dynamics, but I've tried white trucks, I've tried Black River trucks, and my personal opinion, I truly recommend you try some, higher end truck equipment. trucks equipment. So yeah, so these were all my tips to help you sort out how to improve your setup, how to create the right setup for you. And I hope this helped. If you have a topic you would like me to discuss in the next episodes, feel free to share it either on my Instagram profile or just down below in the comments. This was the Fingerboarding podcast. Thank you for joining me. I hope you appreciated it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.